Hello and welcome to Shoe Field here on the campus of Huntington Beach High School, where tonight Sunset League play gets underway. The Los Alamitos Griffins put their 4-2 record on the line as they travel to take on the Edison Chargers. Both of these teams are coming off of losses, looking forward to getting back to their winning ways. Hi again, everybody. Fritz Pollard, Kevin Robinson, Keith Jones. Great to have you with us as Los Alamitos Television proudly presents Sunset League football. Let's get right to the action. Kevin Robinson, Los Alamitos 4-1. They were rolling, and they rolled right into Santa Margarita.
Well, you know, both of these squads are coming off the private school gauntlet with games against Santa Margarita, Servite, Mater Dei. They're coming in battle-tested, and that game against Santa Margarita is a really good test, was a really good test for the Griffins as they start Sunset League play. Here we are, week 1 of Sunset League play, and we're talking league championship, you know, but everything is going to start with the quarterback as it always does. The running game with Cody Paul is going to have to be right on point, but you know what? It's going to start with Lugardi tonight.
Well, and Cody Paul had a great game, at least early on, and then, of course, Santa Margarita kind of shut him down as that game got underway. That Santa Margarita team, very tough.
Very tough team, very big, very physical. But coming into the game tonight, we may have a little bit different look. At least the Griffins can look at it and say, hey, we're not going to have as physical a team that we had, but we're going to have a very good Edison team that we're going up against tonight.
Let's look at Edison on the other side of it. They're 3-2. They have taken on 2 Trinity League teams, and it has been a battle. Servite, come on, you take them on, you know it's going to be a long night. Close game, respectable. 2 weeks ago, of course, Edison coming off of a bye, minute 21 left, 80-yard drive by Mater Dei, and they get the win.
Win by 2 points. Yeah, absolutely. You know, don't let those 2 losses fool you. Like you said, those are tough games. And I can tell you right now that Coach Dave White told his teams that if it takes those 2 losses and the experience of those 2 losses to make us stronger, to go ahead and win the championship in the Sunset League, he'll take it any day. Yeah. So today what they're going to have to do, you got quarterback. It's going to start with their quarterback. Did I mention that? Chase Favreau, who's going to basically be spreading that ball around. He's coming off almost 800 yards for the season so far, over 800 yards for the season so far, 8 touchdown passes, and he's going to have to be on point. He's got a crew of guys catching the ball. His favorite target is going to be number 3, Troy Balgeau, who's already got 3 touchdowns in the season and 17 catches. So that's how he's going to get it done in the air. Defensively, bottom line, they got to play like a unit. They got to stop them. The key to this game, I think, is they've got to stop Los Al from getting that first quarter, first half cushion and keep it close.
Well, it's going to be a great game. It always is. And we'd also like to thank Play It Again Sports for sponsoring today's pregame show. This is going to be a great matchup. 2 of the powerhouses in the Sunset League. And there's a lot of people around town saying that this game is probably going to decide the Sunset League championship. Don't go away, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take our seats upstairs. When we come back, the kickoff, starting lineup, and much, much more.
I didn't get a pronunciation on that name.
Quit playing around and clean out the garage.
Quit playing around, huh? I'll show her. Let's go, Joe.
Clean out your garage and sell Play It Again Sports, your gently used sports and fitness gear.
Welcome back to Shoe Field. Fritz Pollard, Kevin Robinson, Keith Jones just seconds away from getting underway. Back for Los Alamitos, the very dangerous return man on the far side, number 5, Cody Paul. And on the near side, number 1, Kendall Holmes. And kicking off for Edison, the junior Torgerson. Sunset League football week number 1 is now underway. That's going to go to the end zone. Cody Paul, the closest person to the ball, and Los Alamitos, having won the toss, will take the ball to get things started here at Shoe Field. Mark the ball on the 20, and this is the first snap in 2 weeks as Los Alamitos had a bye week after that very tough game, Kevin Robinson, against Santa Margarita.
Yeah, coming off of a tough game, but, you know, there's no shame in losing to what is probably the best team in the Pac-5 right now.
Cody Paul is your lone setback. Little fly pattern to Kendall Holmes, and he breaks through deep into the secondary across the 35-yard line. Not a bad place to get things started as Connor Mace comes up to make the stop, the safety for the Edison Chargers. Let's go ahead and take a look at that starting offense for Los Alamitos. At QB, Dylan Lagarde, the senior. Cody Paul, your running back. Your wideouts, Kendall Holmes, Josh Keiko, Kyle Roberts, and Luke Pastel will get you the rest of the offensive line here in a moment. Cody Paul inside, gets out across the 40-yard line.
Well, you know, that's coming off that first fly sweep that they ran, that tackle made by number 25, Donald Rice, and they had a real good kick-out block on that gain. They may be able to find something on the outside if they continue to go to that sweep.
2nd down and 7. .11:07 here in the first quarter, just getting underway. Screen pass out to Holmes on the far side. And across the 45-yard line should be enough to move the chains. In on the stop is Elijah Herrera.
Yeah, nice little bubble screen. That there is a real safe play. Way to get your quarterback started, you know, with a nice positive play. And that's just as safe and just as good as a run on that one.
They're going to mark it at 3rd down and 1. And a short one at that. Lagarde, Paul, far side. Plenty of extra yardage as Cody Paul is run out of bounds. Masaniai with the stop.
Yeah, nice push by the Griffins, right side of the offensive line. Cody Paul dipped it in and then bounced it outside for a nice gain.
I'd like to thank you for tonight's game. Sponsorship by Consolidated Disposal Services, an environmental partner you can count on. Also want to thank CI Solutions, owned by a good friend of the Griffins, Mark Cole, who was the tight end on the 1978 team, Randy Hill of First Team Real Estate, and Southland Credit Union. Thank you to all of our sponsors for supporting tonight's game. Kendall Holmes getting around the corner, great speed, and that keeps this drive moving as Los Alamitos having no trouble moving the ball against the Chargers early.
That tackle made by Andrew Mosley. You know, they came back, first play of the game, they ran that fly sweep. They got an excellent kick-out block from Cody Paul. This time, Cody is unable to get the kick-out block, but the play bounced outside for a nice gain.
9:32 early here in the quarter. Week 1, Sunset League football. Lagarde, first pass of the night, wide open, and just hung it up there a little too long. Intended for Kyle Roberts. Cedric Hill with the coverage. Boy, that thing just floated a little bit. That's a touchdown if it's a little lower in the sky.
You know, Cedric Hill just basically he fell for the play action. Receiver was behind him. That's a touchdown if that ball doesn't hang up there too long.
So nice pass there by Dylan Lagarde. 809 yards on the season, 15 touchdowns, and only 2 interceptions, 62% passing ratio. And he'll be thinking about that one tonight. Very, very close. Going to the trusty run game, and we have a flag on the play. First penalty of the night, Zach Donnelly with the stop. And we have a Griffin down. Trainers coming out. That's Nick Iacano. That'll be a big loss. Rowdy Bush on that line, hurt 2 weeks ago against Santa Margarita. And I'll tell you something, Rowdy Bush was a real solid 270-pound lineman.
Yeah, to lose 2 out of your 5 guys out there on the line at this point in time in the season is a real setback. But hopefully this is something minor, and he'll be able to get back into action. You know, this is really 2-down territory. We're looking at a penalty that's going to be stepped off. It looks like it was a face mask penalty. This is a 15-yarder. So the Griffins are able to pick up that first down and in great position right now.
Alex Redmond filling in at left guard for Rowdy Bush. Nick Iacano, 6'2", 250-pound senior. He is quite a load anchoring that line, and this will be a big loss for them. Hopefully he's okay and can get back in the game.
Well, it looked like something. Looks like his arm. You know, he's a lineman, so he's naturally a tough guy. So hopefully he'll be able to get back out and see some action tonight.
So 9:45 left here early in the first quarter. That's first down and 10. Mark it on the 24-yard line with the penalty. And the training staff will get on the injury of Iacano. We'll keep you posted to see if Keith can't get on that and find out what's going on.
So far, the Griffins putting together a nice drive. They're showing a bit of physicality up front against these Chargers.
That spread offense. Looks like a trip formation on the far side. Holmes, ball's on the ground, and Lagarde can only fall on it. First miscue of the game, but that'll drive Barnes nuts.
Yeah, they're coming back with a little bit of misdirection off of that fly fake and had a little bit of miscommunication between Cody Paul and Dylan Lagarde and didn't have their timing down. You hate to see that on first down when you're putting in great field position, and now you're looking at a 2nd and 19. So you got to dip into your playbook a little bit, get back into field goal range at least.
This drive starting to stall a little bit. Of course, the injury timeout didn't help the momentum that the Griffins had created. As Iacano had to come off the field, then the miscue. Garrett Garcia downing Lagarde there with the miscue. Lagarde back to the air, throws it across the middle, dead on. And that will be very near, completed to Kendall Holmes. That will be very near a first down. In fact, they're moving the chains.
Yeah, that tackle made by Connor Mason. You know, going out, what I was going to state prior to this is Edison, you mentioned that Los Alamitos is in that spread offense, and Edison is staying in a base 44 defense, and basically what that is it's an 8-man front. It's 4 down linemen, 4 linebackers, and 3 DBs. Against that, the openings in the defensive backfield should be right up the seam. If you're a coach and you're coaching against this defense, a spread, your openings are going to be right up the seam on this offense, or for this offense.
7:39 left here in the first quarter. Kendall Holmes caught in the backfield, very elusive, and just couldn't get away from the guys in green.
Handoff goes to number 1, Kendall Holmes.
Kendall Holmes very active tonight.
Yeah, gang tackled by a host of Chargers there. First one in, Donald Rice once again. And as we stated, with this four linebacker, 4 down lineman front, you're looking for pass plays up the seam. If you've got guys in the slot, it's important for Edison to get a hand on some of these Los Al receivers. So we'll see how physical their linebackers are. If their linebackers are not physical and reroute those inside receivers, Lagarde will have a field day.
Lagarde goes screen pass. Kyle Roberts run out of bounds. Cedric Hill doing the shoving out of bounds. 6:56 left here in the first quarter. Griffins just stormed down the field. Now they're staring at a 3rd down and 12. And they are about 1.5 yards to 2 yards away from getting back to the original line of scrimmage.
Now, a minor win for the Chargers would be to hold the Griffins to a field goal. The Griffins have to come away with points in order to feel good about this drive.
From the shotgun, back to the air, corner route, and just outside the reach of Josh Keiko. Josh kind of held up a little bit there to get some spacing. Mace with the coverage there, and that ball did land in the end zone. Josh just couldn't get there.
Well, if you're Lagarde, you want to put it where only your guy is going to get it. So if you're going to throw that deep pattern in the end zone, that fade route, you want to make sure that the only people or the only person that can come up with that is your receiver.
Brett Baton comes in for the field goal and call it a fake field goal. Baton goes into motion. Lagarde, Kyle Roberts, in and out of the hands, and he would have gotten hammered. That's probably what he was thinking about. The fake field goal doesn't go the Griffins' way, and the very sure-handed Kyle Roberts bobbles it. You think he was peeking a little bit at what was coming at him?
Well, I think most definitely your natural reaction is to get a little bit of alligator arms on that one there. You know, the thing is, even if he would have caught it, he would have gotten drilled and they would have been short in any event. But you know what? If you have those types of trick plays, the good thing is, from a coach's standpoint, you want to get them out early because you hate to spend a lot of time practicing those and during the week and not even get them off during the game.
Chase Favreau, senior QB, hands it off, and the Chargers getting things going on the ground.
Elijah Herrera coming around, giving the Griffins a little bit of a taste of their own medicine, opening up with that fly sweep.
6:37 here in the first quarter. First possession for the Chargers. Favreau, the 200-pound senior, thrown for 866 yards, 8 touchdowns, 50% completion ratio, and he can get it done on the ground. He's run for almost 100 yards. Herrera going around the far side. Good blocking down field. Those receivers getting a hat on some of the Griffins and opening up a huge lane. Kyle Roberts comes up to make the stop.
They come back with that fly sweep going the other way out of an empty backfield. Big gain for the Chargers.
First down there for the Chargers. There you see the offensive line getting coached up there. Mark the ball on the 42-yard line for the Chargers.
Come out in empty backfield again, trips to the far side.
Favreau gets around the corner. We said he could run.
Lots of speed. Interesting call going to the short side, though, on that. Not much room for him to do anything there.
Michael Hayden in and around the stop there. 47 carries so far in the season for Favreau. 99 yards before that run. 2-yard average as long as 34. And boy, what a different dimension a running quarterback brings to the table, especially when you can throw for, 866 yards on a season.
Yeah, and his yardage is probably hindered by a couple of sacks that they may have taken, but he's got good wheels on him.
Empty backfield again. Handoff. Number 24 is Mosley, and Mosley will be about 3 yards shy of the first down.
And Mr. Mosley was introduced to Joe Locker and a few other Griffins on that run. He brings up 3rd and short. Locker really laid the wood on him on that one.
Well, so far what we've seen, it may be a test of defenses tonight. Who can stop the other? Both offenses clicking. Important down here for the Chargers with 3rd and 3 to go. Ball just shy of midfield. Herrera is your lone setback. Favreau looking a little option there, keeps it himself and up the middle. That'll help his average. First down, Chargers.
Nice play running the pistol formation, and with that speed option, that's a really great weapon. It looks like they have over there at Edison and that quarterback Favreau. He's got a lot of speed.
Trevor Brand with the stop.
Both offenses moving the ball pretty well on the ground.
So the Chargers go empty backfield again. Herrera, number 9, their primary running back. Now he goes in motion, and they'll give it to him far side. And Los Alamitos pursuing a lot better on that play. Run out of bounds. Host of Griffins there.
With that play, running that fly sweep there, the way they're running it's more of a read play for the quarterback, but the longer that play stretches out, the better for the Griffins, because one thing that the Griffins do on defense is they pursue to the ball. They fly to the football well. So running that play, as a running back, you've got to find your lane and get upfield, run north-south, because if you extend it out to the sidelines, the Griffins are going to run you down.
Under 4 minutes here in quarter number 1. Empty backfield again for Favreau. Here comes Herrera. Favreau's going to keep it. Finds a nice little lane again, reminiscent of what Santa Margarita was doing. Kendall Holmes with the stop. clearing out that middle, and quarterbacks that can run are dangerous.
Yeah, with this offense now running in the spread, I kind of call it the America's offense now, and it looks like Favreau has got a good handle on it, and he's reading it well. I'm not sure whether they're calling a straight read, where they're letting the quarterback make the decision to hand off on the fly and then take off on the inside, but if it is a read, he's making good reads. That's a great pickup.
That'll be 1 yard shy of the first down. Ball on the 33.
They come out in a power I formation now.
Herrera with the handoff, and should have plenty, although that kind of getting strung out. Let's see. Looks like they're marking it and moving the chains.
Yeah, he picked up about 3 yards on that. When you come out in the power I, that's basically your goal line or short yardage offense, and they're just gonna pound it at you and try to set up that play action pass for a later time.
Under 3 minutes here in week number 1. Sunset League play, and Kyle Roberts comes off the field. Kyle Roberts suiting up on defense tonight at the safety position.
A guy needs a rest, but Kyle Roberts is one of the guys you want to come off the field too much.
Favreau going to take it again, and positive yardage. I mean, if you look at Favreau's stats, 99 yards in 5 weeks, respectable, but with the 2 yard average, he's averaging probably now 4 and 5 yards, and that's enough to keep those chains moving.
Oh, at least. And, the coaching staff is going to have to get on the defensive lineman. It's basically, like I said, it's a read, but a couple of your guys, they have to stay on the quarterback. You're going to have either your D tackles or your D ends are going to have to read their keys, and right now they're not reading their keys, and that's why he's picking up big yardage in the middle.
2 yards shy of another first down, and looks like about 1 yard from being in the red zone. Favreau, one of the first times tonight that he's tried to pass, and boy, what a scrappy run there. Crowd wanting a hold on that first Griffin through the line.
Yeah, the thing about Favreau is he's got a quick motor, as you can tell. Not only does he look like he's fast, but he's really quick, and he's always got his feet moving and putting them in position to gain positive yards. But it looks like they're close. 3rd and inches is what they're calling.
Very close. So you wonder, is this 2 down territory?
I would say the way they're running the ball, it is.
So they go that jumbo backfield again. Give it to Herrera. He's got plenty. Steps outside and picks up more than enough. And we're now down at 106. This is almost a possession each in the first quarter. Long drives by each team.
Well, you know what? This type of play is pleasing to the eye for this football coach. I like to see when the guys are just running it and pounding it down the field. And right now, that's what both offenses are doing. And Edison is really taking advantage of a few miscues by the Los Alamitos defense.
So clock now under a minute, and they stay with that jumbo backfield. Herrera, your primary target. Favreau's going to keep it. Nice pursuit by the Griffins. Dan Seichi with the tackle. Let's go downstairs to Keith Jones.
One of the things the defense is definitely going to be keying on is number 7, keeping the ball. As you've already seen, he is not afraid to run with it, and he's one of their favorite weapons in short yardage situations. He has about 100 touches on the ball already, but he averages 1.2 yards a carry. So he'll keep it. He won't get far, but when they need it, he's there.
Great point, Keith. Thank you for that.
I wouldn't be fooled by that 1.5 to 2 yard average. Like I said, assuming that the stats are correct, a lot of that yardage is on sacks. And so he's got a lot of negative yardage, but we can tell just from this first series, he's going to be a weapon for the rest of this game.
So the officials take a timeout, and they're ready to get things underway. We've got 3 ticks. In fact, they may not even get this play off. And that is the end of the first quarter. So everything we thought it would be, a slugfest at the very least. Los Alamitos with 1 possession, the Chargers with 1 possession. No score, both teams threatened. Not done yet. We'll be right back after this message.
Setting up your home with interior lighting can really be a major task. That's where McNally Electric's new website can help. Its practical and simple layout, along with its amazing search engine, allows you to sort by lighting type, style, dimension, and other factors that could help you with your decisions. Of course, McNally Electric's lighting consultants are always ready to assist you at any time. Visit our showroom in Los Alamitos, where we have a selection of over 200 vendors. We have what you're looking for. McNally Electric, affordable, quality lighting.
Worthington-Lissac Insurance Services has been serving your area for over 20 years. Our friendly staff will work with you to come up with a policy that works best for you. We work with Mercury, Safeco, Progressive, Fireman's Fund, and the Hartford. We offer coverage for auto and home insurance for homeowners, condos, and renters. We also offer commercial and business insurance, including commercial property, general liability, and more. Call Worthington-Lissac Insurance Services at 562-795-5744.
Welcome back to the game. Fritz Pollard, Kevin Robinson, Keith Jones downstairs. You saw as we just came back, Favreau with the keeper and a flag on the play. So that is a face mask going against Los Alamitos, so they will be backed up even further. And you get the feeling that points could become very, very critical as both these defenses have been bending but not breaking. No one's given up a huge play yet, but the way, in fact, our spotter was just mentioning how fast that first quarter went. Points very important. Los Alamitos opening the door and giving the Chargers a little extra real estate there.
Yeah, you're going to have those fast quarters when teams are pounding the football like both of them are, and they basically split the quarter in half with the possessions. And, you know, the Griffins are going to have to come up with a stop here and kind of win this battle and get out with only giving up 3 points or no points.
Griffins gambled, if you remember, on the first possession and did the fake field goal. Herrera, he will be just shy of the end zone, a huge hole up to the center left, and boy, there wasn't a white shirt close to him at all.
Yeah, touchdown saving tackle by Daniel Tyler. Had to grab him by the ankle going in. That was a huge hole going in.
Well, there was a lot of coverage during the bye week for the Chargers after that loss to Mater Dei. They thought they had that game. An 80-yard drive in a minute 21 seconds, and that's literally last play. Great play by Mater Dei to win that game, and I think the sting of that loss is still haunting the Chargers. Let's see who they take
Ball's
it out
on the ground. Fumble.
Herrera with a hard hit, and the Griffins have it. So the defense, as we said, bend, don't break, and they get the turnover as Trevor Brand comes up with it. There was a huge hit. Looks like Herrera would have been short anyway, but the turnover, Griffins get the ball, remains no score here early in the second quarter, 10:55. And the Griffin offense seeing the ball for the second time.
Well, that's the battle victory that I was talking about, is to go in there, try and hold them to 3 points. But if you can get that big turnover, that's a big momentum changer.
So Cody Paul will literally line up on the goal line. Conservative play there. Cody Paul getting around the corner. Look out, he is dangerous. That corner for him is his target before he can get upfield. Andrew Mosley with the stop.
That was a big stop, because if Cody Paul's able to square his shoulders and get up the field, he's still running.
Griffins get a little breathing room. Mark the ball on the 18-yard line.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Griffins come out and open it up a little bit against that 8-man front.
How many times have you heard commentators and strategists talk about the power of turnovers and how it just completely statistically takes you out of a game? That's a big one for the Chargers. Cody Paul with the carry up the middle. That'll be roughly 5 yards shy of the first down marker, 2nd down.
Well, that's a nice positive gain. 2nd and 5 puts you in good position where you can really open up the playbook and you can call a number of plays out of that.
Holmes, your man in motion. Kyle Roberts, the sure-handed Kyle Roberts. Great job there. Should have enough for the first down and literally picks that spot 1 yard beyond the marker. Didn't move from it. How many times do you see a receiver catch that 1 yard short?
Yeah, you know, you have to be aware of field position. Down and distance is a key, especially if you're a receiver in this type of offense. Zach Salazar for the Chargers coming up and making that play.
So mark it on the 30-yard line. Fresh set of downs for Lagarde, and he goes from the gun. Kendall Holmes, your man in motion. Cody Paul going right up the gut. Pick up 2.
Nicholas Masani in on that tackle. You know, I've noticed the defensive changes now. When they came out 2nd down 5, it was more of a, for Edison. Edison was looking for Los Alamitos to pass, so they came out in a 2-deep zone, but Los Al was able to run that play to Kyle Roberts and get the first down. They go back to the 3-deep formation, and, you know, play-action pass, I believe, is really important in that 1st down and 2nd down. And I'd look to see the Griffins open it up a little bit on 1st and 2nd down and go with a little bit more play-action.
Holmes, your man in motion. They're going to pitch it, getting a little bit outside. And, boy, Cody Paul lowers his shoulder and literally took who I believe was Covelli, or was it Salazar, and moved him out of the way.
Yeah, oh yeah. You know what? The second Charger in the green jersey was the run that made the tackle, but Mr. Salazar was introduced to Cody Paul's thigh pads. Pretty good there.
8:44 left here in the 2nd quarter. And wow, a grinded out game. 2 very explosive offenses being held in check, but right now chipping away at it. We've seen it. In fact, at this point, Edison may be lucky to get the ball back. 1 possession each in the 1st quarter, and Los Alamitos getting back to work. Cody Paul coming around. See a flag thrown in the middle.
Yeah, there's a big pile in there, and usually when it's thrown by the umpire there, you're looking at a hold on the Griffins on the offensive side of the ball.
Salazar with the stop.
Now, Cody Paul's running with conviction there. Now, we all know, you know, Cody Paul is short in stature. But when you stand up next to him, the one thing that you notice about him is how big his legs are. So he's a strong, powerful runner.
5'6", 160-pound senior. Coming into tonight's game, 531 yards, 10-yard average. 74 was his long, 55 carries. He's obviously added another half dozen to that tonight. And then he's caught 3 passes for 12 yards. Just so dangerous.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see what he could do if he actually played a whole game.
Right.
I believe that, you know, the Santa Margarita game, obviously he did. But the games prior to that, that was, you know, on a half or 3/4 of action.
So Cody Paul, your lone setback. Screen out to Kyle Roberts. Kyle Roberts cuts it back inside. Gets near the original line of scrimmage.
Nice safe play. Good block to release him by Kendall Holmes. Donald Rice comes up for the Chargers and makes the tackle.
So mark that 2 yards shy of the original line of scrimmage in a very important 2nd down and 12 for the Griffins.
Now, I'd imagine the Chargers are going to go into, they're still their base defense. No, they're going to go into a 2-deep zone with squat corners.
Holmes sees a little lane, cuts it inside, and nice pickup on 2nd down. And Kevin, how many times have we heard you say you love 3rd and 5?
Yeah, you know, it's a heck of a lot better than 3rd and 15. You've got to get positive yards on 1st and 2nd down because you can really come out now at 3rd and 5. And in high school football, this is a run down. It's a pass down. You can do multiple things off of it. You can do 3-step drop. You don't have to worry about. Hopefully, you don't have to worry about the quarterback taking a sack.
Well, Joe Walker checks in, the stud linebacker. Saw a little bit of him during the West Adams game as he was a little bit bigger body to take some of that pounding. Lagarde, Kyle Roberts, completion, 1st down.
Now, we talked about it before. That's knowing down and distance. He was driven out of bounds by Zach Salazar, and that's knowing down and distance. And really, they were in the type of defense to be able to stop that play, but they did not have a linebacker in their corner, didn't come up and make a play on the ball because really the ball floated out there. Good route by, good route by the receiver, and the pass was put in the perfect spot.
Salazar 5'9", going up against Roberts 6'2". That's a matchup the Griffins will take all night long.
Yeah.
7:43 left here in the first half. And as we said, chipping and clawing away. Both these teams haven't seen the big play, but they're happy to get the pickups that they're getting. Cody Paul, far side, and again lowers his helmet. What a young man. You look at his package and you say, wow, is this guy capable of even playing at the high school level? We've seen 5 weeks in a row, and so far here, he is.
He's definitely worth the price of admission there. That tackle made once again by Andrew Mosley. As great a run that was by Cody to pick up 7 or 8 yards, he had a good block by Garrett King up front, number 58, the 6'2 junior.
Well, and he's taken over for Rowdy Bush, so even better yet. So Los Alamitos going to take a timeout. We're going to take an opportunity to thank some more of our sponsors here who are making this broadcast possible, the businesses who are part of the Los Alamitos Business Elite Sports Team. You buy anything from any of these merchants, and they will give back a percentage to the local school activity of your choice. Some of these merchants include All-American Sign Company, Champions Quest, Joe's Premium Painting, and Mr. B's Sports Grill. Also like to take this opportunity to thank Los Alamitos Orthopedic and Sports Physical Therapy. Mike Mandis and Andy Einhorn have been great supporters of all the Griffin sports over the years. They not only do wonderful rehabilitative work, they offer also great programs for injury prevention. That's Los Alamitos Orthopedic and Sports Physical Therapy. So, big timeout for Los Alamitos. 7:36 left. Very important for Los Alamitos to keep this drive going. Second down, ball on the 35. Lagarde with his longest pass of the night. Kyle Roberts adjusting, and a complete, well, we saw it from up here. I don't know if the ref saw it, but it looked like there was quite a jersey pull there.
Well, a little bit of contact there, but the Chargers went straight into a man-to-man coverage. There was no safety help over the top. A good place to take a shot would have been over the middle, but they like that matchup with the taller receiver on the shorter Salazar out there.
Well, Kyle Roberts made a great adjustment heading outside, then cuts it back inside. And actually good coverage there without a penalty by the Chargers. So now we got 3rd down and 2. And you'd almost think this is 2-down territory. Baton probably not tested this year in this distance of field goal. And we've got, looks like, movement on the far side.
Yeah, they got it on the far side. It looks like they got it on number 20, their far side defensive end.
Belay, Derek Belay, 6'1", 216-pound junior. So penalties helping the Griffins. And that will move the chains. So that changes the playbook a bit for Los Alamitos.
Well, like you said, points are going to be at a premium here. The way that each team is controlling the football. So turnovers are going to be really a key in this game. So they've got to protect the football, the Griffins do.
From the gun, little pitch out to Cody Paul. You give him a little bit of space, and that's extra yardage.
That's a pretty good gain into the short side of the field. A lot more than you could ask for to get a 4.5, 5-yard gain off of that quick pitch.
So to think about how this game is unfolded, Los Alamitos takes the ball, drives all the way down, fake field goal, falls apart, turnover on downs. Edison gets the ball. They drive all the way back. The quarter ends. They continue drive. They turn the ball over. Los Alamitos driving all the way back. Now it's 7 minutes left before the halftime break. And, hey, you're lucky if you get the ball back. And that almost picked off the fingertips of Kyle Roberts.
Coach Barnes likes what he sees with Roberts over there against Salazar on that, and that pass had a lot of mustard on it. It was a lot hotter than the last out that he ran. That's just a play that you got to get your hands up when you make that break, and you've got to make that catch.
Kevin, do you think Barnes is coaching Lagarde to get some of this air out from under it? Because a couple of these passes have been very, close. Loose coverage became tight coverage because the ball hung up there. Do you think Barnes is coaching him to put a little bit more on it and get that air out from under it?
Well, you always want to coach the kid to have a quick release, and you want him to, especially on these outs, they've got to have a lot of mustard on it, and that one he did.
Cody Paul, actually one of the better defensive stands against him.
Nicholas Masaniai comes up for the Chargers and makes the tackle. Now you're in a third down situation. You're still in good shape. Depending on how the kicker has been, this is 2-down territory, good screen draw type of or rollout action situation for them. The way they've been running the ball, if you have to decide, okay, if I'm going to go for it, I'm okay running the ball right now. Okay, I'm running the ball or I'm running screen draw and I'm happy with it. Let's see if number 2 Salazar, or they've switched up and put in a new corner out here on this left side.
Locker checks out. Checking in is Gordon. Kyle Roberts, the very sure-handed receiver, and he is fighting for extra yardage. And that will be shy of the first down based on what we're seeing. And that's the second fourth down attempt foiled by the Chargers. And with 5:54 left in this game, the Chargers will get to take over. And the way this thing's going, they're going to have to press it pretty good because no one's been moving it real fast.
Absolutely, and I was mistaken on it. I looked at the box, and I thought it was third down on that because I was going to say, hey, that's a great third down play to get close. So that was a big stop by the Chargers.
So coming back at you, Favreau gives it to Herrera. Herrera dances outside, cuts it back in, and a nice pickup on first down.
Yeah, Herrera really was able to pick and choose his way to a pretty good gain there.
Herrera, 41 carries before tonight's contest, 247 yards and a 6-yard average, 4 TDs on the season. 170-pound junior.
Yeah, the way it's been going, this is going to be the final drive of the half.
Yeah. Both teams liking the ground, a few passes, but no one's really opening the playbook there. And there's Favreau, who was absolutely amazing as that first time they touched the ball. Favreau with lots of room in the middle. Sichi with the stop.
Icona, he actually has a stinger in his right shoulder. They've got him taped up, and he's determined to get back in there. So we may see him some more this game.
So that the update on Iacano. Thank you, Keith Jones, for that sideline update, because we've been wondering, the 250-pound Iacano guy you want to get back out on the field. So 5:45 left before the break. Going far side. Mosley, and Mosley giving Herrera a little bit of a break. Daniel Tyler with the stop.
You know, I think that the Chargers are going to have, and I could be wrong and it could change up, they're going to have more success running between the tackles than they will trying to string it out outside. And running outside is fine, but like I said, at some point your guy has to turn it upfield and go north-south. If you try and run sideline to sideline, the Griffin defense is a little too fast, I believe.
Well, and with 4 minutes, 30 seconds left before the half, they're going to have to pick it up a bit, the Chargers, and you're seeing it there as Favreau went to the air, and like you say, nice quick release.
Yeah, quick release on that, nice zip on that ball, and a good catch, way to ride the sidelines there by the receiver.
Belay with the catch. So that'll move the chains. And mark the ball on the 41-yard line. Herrera checks back in, handoff, trying to find a seam. gets outside, and that'll be a nice little pickup on first down.
Now, Herrera on that fly sweep, lots of patience going around on the outside, and he was really able to pick and choose. Once again, like the term I used a little bit earlier, he was patient enough to get around the end and then square his shoulders and get upfield. Nice gain by the Chargers there. The Griffins are going to have to find a way to slow down this running attack of the Chargers.
Well, then you've got the option of Favreau right up the middle. So the Herrera-Favreau show been very successful for the Chargers thus far. 4:19 left before the break. Herrera, your man in motion. Favreau going to keep it, and you got to make tackles. The guys were there. Michael Hayden had that tackle slip away. Now we got a flag on the play. That came in late, so you almost wonder if that's John.
Yeah, more than likely that's somebody saying something that they shouldn't have said. They should have been happy with the gain that they got and gotten back to the huddle.
Now let's await the call. Kyle Roberts was the Griffin in the neighborhood. Okay, personal foul against the Chargers. And so penalties, wow. Drive just stalling there. Big penalty against the Chargers after some great play calling.
The Griffins get bailed out on that because the tackling was shoddy at best on that, and Hayden come in and able to clean up the mess by making the tackle. Two Griffins just totally whiffed on Favreau on that play.
4:08 left here in week one. No score. A lot of field has been covered, but they can't punch it in on either side. Los Alamitos went for it twice on fourth down. Currently, the Chargers being stymied by penalties. Second down and 18. Herrera's your man in motion. Favreau, big time rush, biggest one tonight. Ball's on the ground and covered by Los Alamitos. Well, let's hold on. Bodies are flying. The second turnover of the game, killing the drive. And for Los Alamitos with 3:46 left, they get the ball on the Chargers side of the field, which is slow as each of these teams have been moving. I shouldn't say as slow as they've been moving, but with the small amounts of yardage that have been picked up, at least now the Griffins are on the Edison side of this thing. Second turnover of the night, costly for the Chargers.
Yeah, that was recovered by number 6, Terrence Brown, who's been everywhere tonight. You know, they were coming out, that heavy rush there. It looks like they had a screen set up, and when you have a screen set up, it's an easy play, throw it away. And it looks like he panicked and tried to avoid that rush.
McGarty from the gun, pump fake, and tosses that out to Cody Paul just outside the hand of a Charger, and Cody Paul with a huge pickup, and he does not mind lowering his shoulder and taking on anyone. Lost his helmet in the process.
Well, the Griffins come back and run that screen there, and on a screen it's a hit and miss, and it barely got by by one of the defenders. Cody Paul was able to get it because once you make that catch and get past that first wave of defenders, then it's just be an athlete and get upfield. Cody Paul is not one to step out of bounds, and he delivered more of a punishment than he took on that one. But, you know, the Griffins coming out and throwing on first down, I like that. I thought that in the series prior to this, that it would have saved, it would have been good for them to throw on first down.
We're going to step aside for just a moment. We'll be right back.
Setting up your home with interior lighting can really be a major task. That's where McNally Electric's new website can help. Its practical and simple layout, along with its amazing search engine, allows you to sort by lighting type, style, dimension, and other factors that could help you with your decisions. Of course, McNally Electric's lighting consultants are always ready to assist you at any time. Visit our showroom in Los Alamitos, where we have a selection of over 200 vendors. We have what you're looking for. McNally Electric, affordable, quality lighting.
Full moon over week one of Sunset League play, no score. And the Griffins on the move. Mark the ball 27-yard line, first down and 10 after just some insanely powerful running by the 160-pound senior Cody Paul.
Yeah, he's come out and he's running with purpose tonight. And like I said, he's planting and going. And once he makes that plant and go, he's delivering the blow to the defender.
Kendall Holmes, your man in motion. Little toss to Cody Paul, slips out of a tackle, cuts it inside, and knocking green shirts back.
Well, he made Garcia in on the tackle. He made something out of nothing on that one. Looks like there's a cut block called on the Griffins on that particular play. Can't say that I'm a big fan of that toss, that quick toss play. It works better, though, coming to the wide side of the field than it has been going to the short side of the field. But you're just looking for Cody Paul to just go one-on-one with somebody and make a play.
Well, Cody Paul is bleeding from his face area. Now, that's kind of interesting. I don't know if that's looks like maybe a pre-existing injury that got cut open. It doesn't look bad, certainly not hampering Cody Paul, but he's got to come out of the game, and the Griffins need him right now. 3:28, Griffins with the penalty now moving backwards, and they've got to get him taped up quick and back out onto the field.
Yeah, well, as physical as he's playing, a little blood is going to be normal for him. So it looks like he took a shot. He may have taken a shot to the ear hole, but they'll get him cleaned up and get him back out there, hopefully before the end of this half.
That brings up now 1st down and 25. And they go to the air. That is nice catch on the far side by Keiko. Good hands by Mr. Keiko.
Yeah, and what you have to do, if you are Lagarde, you have to be in a situation where you're not going to try and pick up all 25 yards at once. You've got 4 downs to do it, and so you just have to try to pick them apart.
Brings up 2nd down, pickup of 5, ball on the 36. Lagarde checks back in. Clock continues to run. We'll keep you updated on that clock. 2:24 left. Griffins have to move with a little bit of purpose. Both these teams not ripping off big chunks, just getting it in little bits. And then there they go, getting it in a big chunk. Kyle Roberts has to come back, and that is intercepted. And back comes the Chargers. A huge interception, and he's still on his feet, cuts it back in. Lagarde, the only man to beat. Is there enough gas in the tank? Touchdown Chargers. Cedric Hill with the pick in the end zone. 100-yard return. If it isn't 100 yards, it's just shy, and the Edison Chargers are going nuts. The 3rd interception of the season, and a very untimely scenario for the Los Alamitos Griffins.
Well, he actually does a 101-yard return. I think in high school they will still just call it 100 yards if I'm not mistaken. But on that play, you talked about it earlier, Fritz, that was a ball that was just hung up in the air. And if you're going to hang it up in the air, you're not going to hang it up in the air against number 2, Cedric Hill, who they switched over to Kyle Roberts' side.
Torgerson looking to tack on the extra point. Ball is up. Plenty of distance. That is good. So the Chargers on a defensive play put the first points of the game on the board.
Now, remember a couple of years ago when the Griffins played here, all of the touchdowns scored by Edison were on fluke plays or scored on defense.
I remember that.
Edison didn't score anything on offense. On this particular play, you notice that they had been picking on Salazar the whole time before, and they were doing it with Kyle Roberts. Well, what they did was the last series is they switched their other, or who I would call their number 1 cornerback,
right,
Cedric Hill, the transfer from Mater Dei. They switched him over, and Lagarde's been hanging the ball up. He's floated him a little bit on the outside on the outs, and he's floated him on the deep balls, as you mentioned earlier.
Well, and Kevin, the other thing is there's 2 balls that they threw to the inside, the defender's side, and I don't know if that would be better going to the outside, but you could see Kyle Roberts was trying to jump around the defender, and maybe he can do that with other shorter, maybe less skilled guys, but not Cedric Hill.
Well, remember, in the first quarter, when he missed on one to the outside going into the end zone the other way, I said, you want to put it where your guy is going to get it, either the offensive player or no one. In this particular situation, he's underthrown it, and it's cost the Griffins. And that was a heck of a return, I might add.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. You know, Cedric Hill was just declared eligible right before their first game. I believe Edison was over in Hawaii, and I think he from what I've read, he caught a plane over and declared eligible by CIF just a day or so before the game.
Josh Keiko, Kendall Holmes back for Los Alamitos. Torgerson puts his leg into it. This will be returnable. Keiko will take it. Very dangerous. Gets behind his wedge. Marked at about the 23-yard line. So 1:47 left for Los Alamitos to answer. They are not going to be able to dilly-dally here.
And they've got only one timeout left. What you don't want to do is you don't want to try to get it all on one play. You have to be patient. Now you have to get your quarterback's confidence back. Because although he was not responsible for that return by any stretch of the imagination, a guy goes back over 100 yards, that's not the fault of the quarterback. However, what he's got to do is have the confidence and try to pick them apart down the field with just one timeout.
Well, and Kevin, what you're saying, coaching perspective, you obviously coaching at the high school level, you get a team that wants to go get the whole thing back. Next thing you throw a pick and you're down 2.
Yep.
Gardy, Cody Paul, probably his shortest gain of the night, marketed a loss. Donnelly with the stop.
Now, what you want to do, depending, you see, if I'm Edison, I've got the Griffins on their heels. I've got 3 timeouts. I call a timeout. If the Griffins do not get any positive yards on this play, I call a timeout, try to get the ball back and try to put more points on the board. If I'm on the Griffins side now, you're second down, you got 17 to go. Now you just want to keep the ball on the ground and you don't want to stop the clock.
1:10 left here before the break. Kind of a ho-hum game until about 30 seconds ago. Cody Paul, nice pickup right up the middle. Donald Rice with the stop.
Now, you can tell that both coaches are playing it kind of close to the vest because Coach White over on the other sidelines, he's not going to give them any kind of timeout. He's not going to let them or assist them and give them a play to go. I call timeout because I want points. But, you know, all of us are different.
Let's go downstairs to Keith Jones.
Okay, basically, Cody Paul's already back in the game and already making an impact. His injury basically was just a cut to the ear. They taped him up a lot and sent him right back in. It was like NASCAR. Pit stop, back to the game.
Well, and back to the handoff. Cody Paul being strung out far side.
Got to flag a hold on the Griffins. So that's going to back it out, and they'll probably decline this penalty and get the ball back on the punt.
Well, in 19 precious seconds, you can hear a pin drop on the Los Alamitos sideline after that return.
Now, 19 seconds going in. Edison's got 3 timeouts. Los Al only has 1. Los Al's not going to use theirs. From a coaching perspective, you're in this. I go for a block punt.
Like to thank some of our sponsors again. Edward Jones Investments, making sense of marketing. Whether you're preparing for retirement, your children's education, or the unexpected, call Beverly Rigney or Ryan McLaughlin with Edward Jones Investments in Los Alamitos. So 19 seconds left. Griffins Chargers. We told you it'd be a good one. This is really what many are saying is going to be the defining game, although in week 1, when you look at the other teams this year up and down the Sunset League, this is probably going to decide the champion.
Well, as soon as I say Los Alamitos probably won't use their last timeout, we come out with back-to-back timeouts, and they use their final one. You can't take it with you. And so they probably wanted to see how the Chargers were going to line up. Were they going to line up in a return, or were they going to line up in a block?
Well, let's also remember Los Alamitos has gone for it twice on 4th down and not been successful. So there's the master, John Barnes.
Well, as close to the vest as the coaches have been playing it, I doubt that he would call a fake on his own 29-yard line. But, you know, we've seen a lot of different things out of both these coaches over the years.
Yeah, the two veterans. I mean, used to be good old days. You had Dave White, Gary Meek over at Esperanza, no longer in the league. John Barnes and Coach Berg, I believe, at Fountain Valley. I mean, those guys were old school and been around for a while. And with the redistricting and teams moving in and out, having an old-time coach is a rarity now.
Yeah.
So Baton checks in for what we think will be a punt attempt, but Edison not worried about the return. They're going to go for the block.
Yeah, they line up with nobody deep. They're going to make sure that they have somebody on the outside receivers.
Low snap, ball up. Herrera, the closest man to the block. And a great punt by Baton. That'll roll out at about the 15-yard line.
Yeah, some kind of punt. Good punt. You know, but the formation kind of prevented Edison from going for the all-out block, so that was a good call by the Griffins coaches. Looks like they're going to bring it back for a possible re-kick.
And false start Los Alamitos. I think all that jostling on the line by the Chargers lining up and bringing the house got one of the O-linemen to jump. And Baton will have to do it again. The challenge is he will be very close to his own end zone.
Yeah, you know, at least they got 10 seconds run off the clock. All he's got to do is just get it off now. And if Cedric Hill, if he gets anything to the middle of the field, then he's going to be hard-pressed as to whether to return it or whether to call a fair catch and set up that last Hail Mary attempt.
So Cedric Hill will now line up to field this punt. No rush on. And Baton does his job and gives it nowhere near Mr. Cedric Hill. Ball goes out about the 45-yard line.
Well, got 2 seconds to go. And for one last play, let's see if they line up and just take a knee or if they take a shot down the field.
You know, Kevin, I'm just monitoring the sidelines here. You saw a camera shot of the Los Al bench. It's almost like it's the fourth quarter and 2 seconds to go. Even the cheerleaders are a little bit humdrum. I mean, that return, hey, it's still first half. Lots of football to be played. It seems like it's having an effect on the fans and the team. I mean, was that the dagger that you know, that's keeping these guys from getting back in the game? It just seems like there's a lull over the Griffin sideline. Herrera with the carry.
Well, to answer the question, it shouldn't be the dagger. It's one score, and you know you can move the ball against this team. You just have to go back in, regroup, let the kids know that it's not the end of the world, and to go back out there and move the football.
Your thoughts first half?
Well, as we said from the first quarter, it looks like, you know, it's really, on one hand, it's 7-0 game, so you would think it's a defensive battle. But it's really both offenses moving the ball up and down the field. It's just turnovers and penalties that are killing both sides right now.
Well, and really, it's equal description for both sides. So that's all the summary you need to give us.
That's it.
That's it for both sides. Hey, Coach Barnes, bending the ear of some of the referees downstairs. We'll see if we can get some information on that. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go away. Exciting football action still coming up. Second half. Chargers 7, Los Alamitos nothing. We'll be back after this.
Worthington Lissack Insurance Services has been serving your area for over 20 years. Our friendly staff will work with you to come up with a policy that works best for you. We work with Mercury, Safeco, Progressive, Fireman's Fund, and the Hartford. We offer coverage for auto and home insurance for homeowners, condos, and renters. We also offer commercial and business insurance, including commercial property, general liability, and more. Call Worthington Lissack Insurance Services at 562-795-5744.
Welcome to Shoe Field. Fritz Pollard, Kevin Robinson, Keith Jones. 7-0, the Chargers on top, scoring after an interception and a great run back by Cedric Hill, the 190-pound senior, 6'1". And that's the difference in this game. Just a reminder, this telecast is brought to you in large part by Consolidated Disposal Services, an environmental partner you can count on. Also by CI Solutions and Randy Hill of First Team Real Estate, Sparta Graphics, and Southland Credit Union. Thank you to all of our sponsors for helping make tonight's broadcast possible. So Brett Baton going to get things started here in the second half. Herrera going to watch this one go into the end zone. Baton done that a lot so far this season and eliminates a return, and Favreau going to get things set up. Reminding us, Kevin, 2 years ago at this field, and I had forgotten what a quirky game that was. All of the scoring was done by the defense of the Chargers.
Yeah, you know, the Griffins and Chargers have played some odd games over the years, which tells us no one should leave until the final whistle blows. But the Griffins are going to have to do something to change the pace of this game.
Favreau looking at an empty backfield. Herrera, your man in motion. Favreau going to keep it. He's been good all night long up the middle, and he does not mind lowering his head, hurdling Joe Locker, and brought down. However, not before a pickup, first down pickup, to start the second half.
Well, with this particular defense, it really depends, but on each coach plays it a little differently. But the defensive tackles have got to do a good job on their fly guy or dive guy, or you're going to have to put your defensive end on the fly, the back fake and the sweep, and put your D tackles on the quarterback, and the backside end has got to be on that quarterback.
So Herrera going to keep it, and great pursuit by the Griffins. Coming up to make the stop there, Daniel Tyler. And that has been a shifty little play between Favreau and Herrera all night long.
Well, the Griffins were all over it on that occasion.
Second down at 15, marking it as a loss on the play, and Favreau jogging back in. Herrera actually checks out. Lagarde there getting a little coaching, watching his defense, hoping for a big stop here. Different man up the middle. That's Mosley. Correction, mark it is Ross, Marquise Ross. And Kyle Roberts comes up to make the stop.
Neither team too eager to put the ball in the air and throw it downfield.
Well, and you were saying during the halftime, we were down at the truck and I was asking you what you thought, and you said, you know, these teams got to be able to open this thing up, put it in the air, just not moving the ball, getting big gains, and small gains are okay, but short of a defensive score, this is still 0-0.
Right.
Third down and 12 for the Chargers. To the air, Favreau flushed out of the pocket. Look out, he could be dangerous. And caught. Tyler again coming up to make the stop. That looked like it was going to be a big gainer and possibly move those chains.
Well, you know, the defenses now, on both defenses, they're playing the pass well on third and long. And both teams are running the ball first down, running the ball second down, and throwing the ball on third down. Hopefully this will change the pace a little bit for the Griffins to have the Chargers go 3 and out, but I'd like to see them with more play-action pass on first and second down.
Torgerson will stand on his 25. Cody Paul will stand on his 30. Big rush by Kyle Roberts, kicks a low liner. Cody Paul going to take it on the bounce, coming near side, cutting it back in and taken down across the 30-yard line. So Lagarde gets what he wants, a defense that puts a stop on, and with 9:14 left here in the third quarter, Lagarde gets to bring his offense back on the field, and at some level you talked about rebuilding confidence after that 101-yard return after the interception.
Well, let's see if the guys come out and respond. I'm sure that the Coach Barnes and the staff laid into the guys pretty well because you had turnovers and you had penalties, you had mistakes, and you have to eliminate those mistakes.
Kendall Holmes, man in motion, give it to Cody Paul. Cody Paul going straight up the middle. Nice pickup on first down.
Well, they're getting a good, and they have been getting a good push from the opening drive, from the first time they got the football. And so they're still getting that good push. Nice 5-yard gain for Paul. Garcia in on that tackle.
Mark it at a 2nd down and 6, ball on the 37-yard line. Cody Paul, look at those afterburners. He gets going to full speed so fast.
He is definitely quick. He's upended going there. And, you know, one of the tendencies that I've seen, there he goes, 2nd down, mid-range, 2nd and 5, and the Edison defensive coaches are thinking pass because they've changed their defense up, and both times that or a few times that they've done that, the Griffins have run the ball right up the gut, and they've gotten more yardage against that 7-man front instead of the 8-man front.
That one going all for naught.
They go back, 1st down, 44 defense, try and run it up the gut with, you know, albeit a very, very good and physical back, but you're still going against an 8-man front on that. And at some point, you've got to have confidence in your passing game and go with the play action and just go for the medium, short-range passes to get Dylan LaGuardia a little bit of confidence.
Joe Locker checks in. 2nd down and 11. Man jumps. So both sides being bitten by the penalty bug. And that Donnelly, and he's just grabbing his helmet, knowing what he just cost his team. Los Alamitos in a negative yardage position.
Yeah, he'll go out, get chewed out a little bit on this play. They're not going to change their defense. It was 2nd and long. Now we're 2nd medium range, and let's see what they've got there. If they're going to go with 2 deep or they're going to go back to 3 deep.
Ball on the 49.
Yeah, switched up and went to more of a run defense here.
Cody Paul finds a little crease. He doesn't need much. This will be shy, however, of the 1st down by about 2 yards. Donald Rice with the stop. So Locker checks back in. Very important 3rd down for Los Alamitos. Ball now on the Charger 47. 2 yards to go. And that's a long 2 yards.
Well, I can tell you this is a rundown based on what the Chargers defense has been thinking.
Holmes in motion. That little toss to Cody Paul. Finds a lane. 1st down. Slides across the 40-yard line.
Connor Mace, one of the Chargers, in on the tackle.
So again, the quarter flying by. 6:39 left here in the 3rd, and this has been absolutely a possession game by each team. The only problem is none of the offenses have punched it in yet. Cody Paul bouncing outside. Green shirts all over the place. Great pursuit by the Chargers.
Once again, the Griffins are going to find they're in a 2nd and long situation.
Herrera and Donnelly with the stop there on Cody Paul. Anytime you can get him down for negative yards, consider that a success.
Yeah.
So early in the 2nd half, big down for Los Alamitos. Ball on the 41-yard line. LaGuardia going to consider the pitch, keeps it himself, and surrounded by green shirts. Call that tackle by committee. Donald Rice, the 1st man in.
LaGuardia gets up with a slight limp, but he's a quarterback that's not used to moving too much. But it's still a pretty good gain. 5 yards, puts him at 3rd and 5.
Yeah, he's got to shake this off. So big down for the Griffins.
No, we haven't seen him under center too much.
Cody Paul gets outside. That is going to be very close.
Looks like a penalty flag thrown by the referee. Usually when it's thrown from that angle on that play, you're going to get a holding penalty, and that's what it looks like they got.
And Connor Anderson, the center, 6 foot, 230-pound senior, grabbing his helmet, almost as though he may have been the offending party. So, boy, hey, Kevin, you're week 6, and these kinds of penalties. Now, listen, you could call hold on every play. I get that. But there's been a lot of penalties that have eliminated some forward progress on both sides.
On both sides of the ball. And you can attribute that maybe to a little bit of nerves in the first quarter. But now, at this point, the guys have to start playing football and stop making those mistakes.
Under 5 minutes to go in the third. So it looks like about third down and 15.
Yeah, LaGuardia's still shuttling in the play now, still with a slight limp. Third and 15. Once again, we go back to that screen draw, possible look, but we've got to get positive yards out of there.
To the air, down the middle, and that ought to be a flag. There it comes. Kyle Roberts absolutely mugs Cedric Hill doing the mugging. Of course, Cedric Hill was the gentleman that picked off that ball that was thrown to Kyle Roberts in the first half.
The only question that I would have is, was that ball tipped? But it doesn't look like that they're discussing that at all, because if the ball would have been tipped by the defender in front, then that wouldn't have been a penalty. But it looks like there was no tip on that.
So penalties weighing big here. And for those of you who have been around a while, the Chargers and the Griffins always have some of the most heartbreaking final second field goal, fumbles, penalties, you call it. These games generally have it. Two battle-tested teams, maybe tonight playing for a championship in the Sunset League. Cody Paul runs into a pile.
Okay, I'm going to play offensive coordinator.
Okay, I was just going to say, you got something to say, I can see.
Because they're lining up. It's so predictable that the Chargers, Edison is lining up in that same cover 3 defense every first down. The Griffins have 4 receivers. If you've got 3 defensive backs, 2 corners and a safety, and you've got 4 receivers, all you have to do is run up the seams. 3 guys can't cover 4. You don't have to throw it 30 yards down the field. You got to throw it once they clear the linebackers, and that's where I think that they can gain some success.
Screen pass, Holmes eaten up. Cedric Hill leading the charge on that.
You know, I was watching ESPN. John Gruden, the coach of the Raiders and Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he always used to tell his guys, whenever we see that bubble screen coming, he would kind of get giddy and laugh, because if you're playing that defense against that bubble screen, if everybody plays assignment football, that should not be a big play.
Well, I've said it a few times in this drive. If you're a Griffin fan, third down and 10, ball on the 30-yard line. And this is about where the drives have started to stall. Holmes, play action, going to the corner, wide open, and comes in and makes the catch. Looks like either a blown coverage or the corner lost track of the receiver.
Well, in that case, that's a great call by the Los Alamitos offensive staff, because they switch up to a cover 2, and the dead zone in that cover 2 is not in the seam area, but it's right in that area between the cornerback and the safety. The safety has got to get outside and cover that deep ball, but when you run those types of routes against that cover 2, that's going to be your open area. So that was the perfect call against that defense.
Picks up the first down, ball on the 4-yard line. Closest the Griffins have been all night. Locker is your man in motion. Cody Paul, your lone setback. Give it to Paul. Cuts inside, will be taken down short.
And it'll be interesting to see as the game gets into the fourth quarter and the game progresses, if the offensive coaching staff, the guys up in the booth, have seen the tendency for Edison to switch those defenses because they've done it the whole game, and it's been obvious to see.
Devon Brown and Zach Donnelly in on the stop. Second down, may have even lost a yard. Looks like they're marking it on about the 5-yard line. Cody Paul right, and touchdown Griffins.
Boy, young Paul kind of got lost behind that line, and he went in untouched.
I mean, you talk about Cody Paul, and we've talked, early in the pre-league, you've got his size, his strength, and his speed.
Yeah.
There, he used his size, and we're not talking big,
right.
His 5'6" frame, hiding behind that line, popping out in the hole, tough to defend.
Absolutely, and that 5'6" frame is if he's standing in my 1978 platforms. I can tell you that.
Baton tack on the extra point out of the hold of Kyle Roberts. Actually, Mosley getting some good pressure there. Kick is up, and it is good. So Griffins even it out with 2:10 left here in the third quarter.
Good to see him put together a drive and move downfield.
Let's go ahead and take an opportunity to thank some of our sponsors, including businesses of the Los Alamitos Business Elite Sports Team. We call it the Los Al Best. You buy anything from these merchants, and they will give back a percentage to the local school activity of your choice. Some of the merchants that support the BEST program: Montage Dentistry, All-American Sign Company, Green Street Interiors, and Pacific Premier Bank. Take a look for this logo at some of your favorite places to shop. Supporting Los Alamitos sports teams.
You know, Fritz, before we go, I have to take this time to give a shout-out to one of my Challenger football players. It's a team made up of special needs kids in the city of Cypress, who is a Los Alamitos Griffin student, Crystal Leon. So, Crystal, I said I'd say hi to you, and hi to you after that Cody Paul touchdown.
So, Chargers get another shot at it. Herrera takes it on the far side, trying to find that wedge. And taken down after a decent return. That'll be just shy of the 30-yard line.
Well, when the half started, I mentioned that the Griffins had to do something to kind of change the pace of the game. And what they did to change the pace of the game is they forced the Chargers to go 3 and out for the first time. And that's what gave them a little bit of momentum, I think, in this third quarter.
Well, now you sense a little bit more energy both on the sideline of the Griffins and here up in the stands. We even noticed during halftime, coaches came out, looked a little bit down, like, what are we going to do? And, boy, to bring that energy back, a score never hurts.
No, never hurts.
Favreau taking some hard yards right up the middle.
Well, you know what? If you want to increase your energy, increase your intensity on defense. You know what? If you can get some stops and if you can lay the hat on a couple of guys, that's going to increase your energy.
Daniel Tyler with the stop. And here you go. Don't blink. Another quarter winding down with 1:38 to go. You might be able to count the possessions for each of these teams on one hand by the time this game is done. Second down and 6 for the Chargers. Fake it to Herrera, going to the air. Nice throw over the middle, and that is complete to Cedric Hill. What a rocket he threw.
Yeah, he put a little zip on that. The play action slowed the linebacker down a little bit, hit him right up the seam. Nice ball. Yeah, the pace of this game now, as far as is how fast the quarters are going by, is kind of like watching old school 2 double wing football teams playing each other. Watching a Tustin football game.
Yeah, you can still get home and see the Seinfeld show in reruns.
Absolutely.
Okay, clock back underway, 1:06. And you feel at some point these teams are going to have to pick up the pace. Now that the Chargers are tied up, they seem to be deciding to pick it up now. Cedric Hill with a nice shot across the middle and flag on the play. Let's see what this call is.
Look. Yeah, the only thing that you can call on that is a possible face mask at the end.
What a throw by Favreau.
Yeah, face mask or horse collar. Looks like a face mask. Yeah, that play, they came back. They like it. They ran it 2 times in a row, Fritz. First down, freeze the linebackers with the play action pass, throw it right on the seam.
Kyle Roberts with the tackle and possibly the infraction. And you're not kidding, right, same place, same receiver. You've got to love the arm of Favreau. That thing is back and it is out quickly.
And yeah, I was going to say, you know what, I like the arm, but what you said at the end was perfect. His release is really, really fast.
So a game that has just kind of ground out the yards now is flying. Favreau with 2 back-to-back great passes. They give it up the middle. And that is Mosley, or correction, Ross. Hayden with the tackle. So 20 seconds left here in the third quarter.
Well,
and this is winding up to be what we normally expect from these two teams. It's going to be a battle in the fourth.
Yeah.
Ball on the 6-yard line. Second down, goal to go. Herrera, your lone setback.
He's not going to get it off.
Well, if you're the Chargers, another penalty, correction, into the quarter, and they'll have a few more minutes to talk about what they are going to plan on doing. So, ladies and gentlemen, don't go away. All knotted up, 7-all. Griffins, Chargers. We'll be right back.
Setting up your home with interior lighting can really be a major task. That's where McNally Electric's new website can help. Its practical and simple layout, along with its amazing search engine, allows you to sort by lighting type, style, dimension, and other factors that could help you with your decisions. Of course, McNally Electric's lighting consultants are always ready to assist you at any time. Visit our showroom in Los Alamitos, where we have a selection of over 200 vendors. We have what you're looking for. McNally Electric, affordable, quality lighting.
Welcome back to Shoe Field. Fritz Pollard, Kevin Robinson, Keith Jones downstairs. Chargers knocking on the door, mark it at the 6-yard line, second down. Chargers got down here on 2 great pass plays between Favreau and Cedric Hill. Pitch it outside, high for Herrera, and a great pursuit by Los Alamitos and taken down outside the 10-yard line. Joe Locker leading the charge, just what the Griffins needed.
Great defense. Chargers tried to fool the Griffins by running motion back to across the field and then running option on the goal line, which is tough to defend if you're playing man-to-man a lot of times, but the Griffins played that perfect.
So now that brings up a 3rd down and 11, loss of 6 on the play. Very important down now for the Chargers. Points have not come easily for either of these teams. Now they go jumble backfield, and we have a timeout for Los Alamitos. They're going to talk about it.
Well, let's see. They went to their power I, which is their goal line offense, and they called timeout. And usually you do that because you don't have the correct personnel. And I expected them to put in a little, some of the big guys. I saw them pulling in one of their little guys to switch it up. If Edison goes back to the power I when they come out, you're 3rd down and 10. I don't expect them to think they're going to run it in from 10 yards. So look for some play action pass out of that power I if that's what they do.
So big play here for the Griffins, big play for the Chargers. We'd like to thank another one of our sponsors, the Los Alamitos Orthopedic and Sports Physical Therapy. Mike Mandis and Andy Einhorn have been great supporters of all the Griffin sports programs over the years. They not only do wonderful rehabilitative work, they offer great programs for injury prevention. That's Los Alamitos Orthopedic and Sports Physical Therapy. Big play for both these teams. Can the Los Alamitos defense rise to the occasion? Chargers knocking on the door, 3rd down and 11. And we have flags again. Boy, watching game film, we'll see what the call is here, but these coaches have got to be pulling their hair out. Procedure against the Chargers, are you kidding me?
Well, you know, when you do a lot of different things on offense, meaning you run a lot of different formations, a lot of different motions, you're going to have those teams. And both of these teams will spread the ball out a little bit, line up in a few different formations, and unfortunately, that's kind of the price you pay when you do a lot of those different things on offense.
Well, and that point well taken, yet you're here in Game 6 of the 2011 season, and we know two very disciplined teams, Coach White, Coach Barnes, usually not known for this kind of behavior. Favreau gets away, missed tackles. The Griffins had 3 or 4 shots. Favreau makes something out of nothing. Daniel Tyler finally comes up to make the stop.
Yeah, a lot of movement in there, but the Griffins had him contained, you know, from the get-go. Obviously, good coverage and then good containment there. Now, 4th down, points are at a premium. Got to kick this field goal.
Alexander Torgerson, the junior 185-pounder, comes in for the field goal.
With the exception of those 2 seam passes, the Griffin defense has held up this half.
Yes, they have.
Well.
Snap back, ball down, kick is up. It's long enough, and it is good. So Torgerson tacks on 3 and pushes that to a 10-7 lead. And the understatement of the night, points are at a premium.
Absolutely. Now what your leader at quarterback has got to do is just come out and just play it loose, not make the mistake. The pass drive was good, and you got to do the same thing.
Let's go downstairs to Keith Jones.
This is exactly the type of game that Edison has been preparing for the last 2 weeks. Coach White told his team that this game is probably going to go down to the last drive, he predicts, or possibly even go into overtime. He said maybe even double overtime. So they're looking to keep it tight and keep it right to the wire.
Yeah, I saw that piece that Coach Dave White was discussing, and he said, we need to be ready for a tight game. We need to be ready for single overtime, double overtime, triple overtime. And he was just trying to get his kids fired up. Of course, that was in the bye week after that really tough loss to Mater Dei. So, again, 2 very well-coached teams. And this game has been a barn burner for the last 8-10 years. And it's shaping up like that tonight. Cody Paul back for Los Alamitos. Kendall Holmes on the far side, number 1. And Torgerson gonna let it fly. And like Los Al's Brett Baton, that goes into the end zone. Lagarde will set up shop on the 20.
Now let's see if the Griffins can come out, move the ball like they did on the previous drive.
10-13 left here in this contest. Week number 6. First game of league play. In fact, some great matchups unfolding here this week as each of these Southern Section teams are starting to play their league play. There's Coach Barnes in your frame. Coach Barnes calling an empty backfield. Correction, I didn't even see Cody Paul back there.
Well,
and nice pickup, wow.
Well, what they did is they ran out of the pistol. The difference between this drive and every other drive, Edison came out with a 7-man front. So calling the run against 3 linebackers versus calling the run against 4 linebackers, perfect call. Perfect call by Coach Barnes.
So Cody Paul putting his team on his back and walking them down the field.
Yeah, you know, I would be surprised if Coach White, and, you know, it's a guessing game, but I'd be surprised if he comes out and comes out in that same defense, considering how much the Griffins have run the ball on first down. That's why you stay in that 44, and that's what they're doing this time.
Little pitch. Cody Paul finds a little lane, gets around the corner. Run out at about the 45-yard line as Donald Rice was in pursuit. Now, let's play a little clock management here. The way that these teams on offense have been running time off the clock. Punch it down, score, run off. What do you think? Get 4 or 5 minutes off the clock here on a drive like this?
Well, the way they're moving the ball, I don't see any reason why they can't do that.
Holmes, your man in motion. Give it to Paul. Paul, wow, he's starting to find a lane.
Yeah.
You know, Kevin, is this the DB's linebacker starting to get a little tired? Is that why he's seen a little bit more room as Sonny with the stop?
Well, you know, they've been getting a good push since the opening drive. They've been getting a good push. They've just got to open it up, or mix it up a little bit. And what they did there is still they're going off the first fakes, coming back with him on the backside, and the backside linebackers aren't filling. And so it could be a matter of being a little bit tired out there, but they're getting a good push from that offensive front.
9:14 left in this contest. Cody Paul going far side. Boy, he finds that little opening and squirts through it.
Well, I can tell you this. Because of the turnover factor, because of the way the coaches, I think, have been playing a little close to the vest in this game, the time of possession has been, and the way they're moving the ball, I don't expect them to throw the ball too much on this drive right now. And why should you if you're picking up 5 and 6 yards every carry?
Connor Mace with the stop there for the Chargers. I'm standing at about the 50-yard line where that play started, watching Cody Paul get strung out on the far side, and then bam, he just cuts and squirts through. I thought that was going to be a loss on the play. Great running by Cody Paul. Kendall Holmes, looks like we may have had a flag thrown in.
Yeah, from that mid-umpire. Probably a hold. You know, you're talking about that previous play by Cody Paul. Basically what they ran to the right side is they run a zone play. And one of the keys to success in the zone is that you read your blocks and you have patience as a running back. And then you have the wherewithal to square your shoulders and run north-south once you see that lane. And so he's really good at running that zone. And he's good, too, if you're running that zone and your guys across the front are 6'2" to 6'4", and you're 5'5" or 5'6", and you've got good vision, you're going to be able to hit that lane.
Penalty marched off against Los Alamitos, and it's a big one. I'll go to game film. The penalties that will be reviewed in this game by both these coaches midway through this season is what makes coaches lose sleep at night.
Yeah, that you're right. I can tell you 100% correct about that.
Second down, pump fake, opens it up and just thrown short. Keiko, the intended receiver, and he was open. It looked like he was on a different page, however.
Yeah, you notice they've been staying away now from the other side from Hill since they switched sides with Hill. Because remember, and they made a switch in the defensive backfield. Remember, earlier in the game, they had Zach Salazar out there, and they replaced Salazar and just switched Cedric Hill over to the other side. And so he's matching up a lot of times with Kyle Roberts, the taller receiver. And so the Griffins have kind of stayed away from him since that big return.
8 minutes even left on the clock. Gordon, your man in motion, give it to Paul. And good pursuit there by the Chargers.
Well, that play on third and forever is kind of a concession play, saying, you know what, let's play field position football, let's put you guys back, and let's play defense, and we'll start over.
Cody Paul going to head over for some more medical attention. That wrap was around his head, and that young man has earned a couple of helmet stickers tonight. So the very dangerous Cedric Hill stands back on his 24-yard line. Nice punt. Drives Cedric Hill all the way back to the 10-yard line. And great pursuit by Los Alamitos.
Yeah, nice punt with a lot of air up under it, and that gives your defense, or coverage guys, a chance to get down there and make the tackle.
So 7 minutes, 12 seconds left in this game, and the way these offenses have been holding the ball, you now wonder how much time can Edison run off the clock? They drive the field. How much time is left for Los Alamitos? We were kind of making the same point as Los Alamitos was driving.
Yes. Well, both teams, the Griffins have 3 timeouts, and, 7 minutes is a lot of time. Even though we've seen it go off the clock really fast tonight, 7 minutes is a lot of time.
Favreau, handoff to Ross. Short gain.
What the Griffins have to do now is they have to come up with a stop now. Whatever they do, you want to say, well, Edison's not going to pass the ball right now, or I'd be surprised if they do, but you want to get a stop, a tackle for loss, something. Don't let them get this first down, and for sure don't let them get in a 3rd and short, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1.
Now, and watch out for Mr. Favreau. He has been probably the difference in the game on offense because of his running capability, and he's had a little bit of room up the middle, just like this.
Just like that.
Ball on the ground. Are they going to say he was down? He was spinning around.
Yeah, well, once he hit the ground, the ball is dead, and so he hit the ground on that.
Okay, so here you have it, 3rd down. Ball on the 25-yard line, 4 yards to go.
Big play for the Griffins defense.
Big play. Los Alamitos crowd starting to get behind this defense. 5:49 left here in the 4th. Favreau going to go from the gun. Herrera, give it to Favreau. He has an opening. He is a studly QB.
Yeah, yes, he is. But now the key, 5:37, you've got to have a stop on 1st down. You got to put them in 3rd and long situations because it's obvious that they do not want to throw the ball. They're up. They're up. There's 5 minutes left. They want to keep the ball on the ground. So you've got to get a good stop on 1st down.
Well, that 4-down series took a good 2 minutes off the clock, and the clock continues to run, so it's almost like 2.5 minutes just in that 4 series or that first possession series. So now you've got Favreau, 5:07, looking long, pump fake, and there's a 200-pound quarterback that moves like he's 160.
Yeah, and they just give up 8 yards. Got to get a stop. And if they don't now, they give up another 1st down, then you've got to start using your timeouts.
4:46.
Because a lot of coaches will want to keep those timeouts just on offense, but you know what? If you don't get the ball back, what difference does it make?
Right. I'll tell you, right now I'm watching great clock management by the Chargers. That'll be very close. Looks like he'll be short. That was Ross. Marquise Ross been giving Herrera a little bit of a break.
Now they're going to come out. They're bringing in their jumbo package. Going to go power I, is what it looks like.
Well, at some level, you got a 200-pound quarterback that has been moving like White Shoes Johnson.
Yeah.
You might even want to just have him keep the ball.
That's going way back in the day, Fritz.
Yeah, I'm
Billy
sorry.
White Shoes Johnson.
Yeah, you like that? I don't even know where that came from.
Like that.
Give it to Herrera.
This is going to be
That's
close.
going to be very close. Everyone on the coaching staff lining that one up.
Looks like the ref on the near side, on the Los Alamitos sidelines, is giving him the 1st down by the spot.
Okay, now remember, this drive started with about 7:15 or so, and we're now down to 3:35.
You got to get a stop, and you've got to call timeout.
Favreau, Ross. And those kind of pickups going to be a challenge. Marquise Ross picks up a good solid 4.
Well, there's one thing I've predicted right all night, is that they stopped him. You still don't want to give up 3.5 yards. You'd like to keep it shorter, but, you know, they can't take those timeouts with them. You've got to use your timeouts now. And if you get the ball back with no timeouts, that's what you have to do. You want to try to save one if you can in the event that you have to get a field goal kicker out on the field. But at this particular point, you have to use your timeouts.
I'm watching Cody Paul on the sideline. He's just pacing and then stopping and pacing. You know he wants to get back out on that field. He needs his defense to get a stop. There he is right there. Look at that Warrior, all wrapped up.
That's what playmakers do. Playmakers want the football.
You can just see it. It says, give me one more shot. And he's a one-possession guy. I mean, you give him the ball, this thing could be over.
Yeah, it could be over with just one shot.
But you got to get him the ball. His head bandage there due to a injury to his ear in the first half that was bleeding pretty good.
Yeah. You know, the North County is blessed this year with some good running backs and good running backs that are 5'7" and under at some of the local schools. And Cody Paul is one of them that's leading the way.
We've said it before, 2nd down and 7, ball on the 46. Big down for the Griffins. Empty backfield again for Favreau. To the air, flushed out of the pocket, hucks it downfield, and that is incomplete. And
yeah, it looks like they got him on a pass interference call.
Oh, I didn't see the flag coming there. I guess they threw it under him.
Yeah, he got him on the pass interference coming over the back. It was a close call, but that's definitely what he's calling. Well, the difference is it's not at the spot. Okay, you're going to give up 15 yards.
And Kevin, would that be one of those that if you don't cover that closely, you may give up a touchdown? So, you know, you might as well take your 15.
I'd rather take the PI than give up a 45-yard play. So on high school, that's a good play.
So 3:12 on the clock.
Well, you know what? But Coach White, he was actually helping. If he doesn't get that PI, he's helping the Griffins out by throwing the ball down the field because they don't have to waste the timeout now. So now you just have to get your stop.
Now, though, across midfield, you almost think Coach White's going 2 down territory if they don't get the first. Herrera up the middle, conservative.
See, now I don't know if I'd use my timeout because they only got a yard or 2 off of that. So you wait to see what they get on 2nd down, then you go back into it, use your timeout.
Yep, and Barnes chooses not to, under 3 minutes now.
Yep. Let's see what package they come if they come back with that jumbo package. Now, it wouldn't surprise me, especially since Coach White had Favreau take the shot downfield, to go to this jumbo package, to go to this power I, and go to a tight end, a pop pass, or some sort of play action pop pass or power pass to the power back out of the backfield. Let's play the guessing game and see what they do.
Precious seconds clicking off the clock that Los Alamitos could use. 2nd down and 9.
Yep,
Favreau to Herrera.
Now you use your timeout.
Helmets coming off. Hard running there by Herrera. And that brings up a 3rd down. And team's going to talk about it. I'd like to take this opportunity with the timeout to thank again one of our sponsors, Edward Jones Investments, making sense of marketing. Whether you are preparing for retirement, your children's education, or the unexpected, call Beverly Rigney or Ryan McLaughlin with Edward Jones Investments in Los Alamitos.
You know, on that play, Coach Barnes was giving the side judge a little bit of piece of his mind, and he was, because he was watching the play and he's standing by, and I know he's calling timeout right at that time, and every second counts.
Yes.
And the field judge kind of half way went out and kind of gave a light signal for the timeout, and so the Griffins may have lost a couple of seconds out there. So let's see if they add any time on the clock. Doesn't look like they are. We're going to be at 2:15, and the Griffins are going to have one timeout left.
Third down, a precious 6 yards. Let's jump ahead, Kevin, just a moment. If they don't get it, do you go again?
No, it depends on how close, but I'd punt it, play field position.
Favreau going to keep it himself. Has a blocker out in front, gets a huge block, and that is likely going to be the game as Favreau is still fighting for yards. And we have a flag. Don't go anywhere, folks. A flag at the 36-yard line. And this one is likely coming back after an unbelievable pickup. Great blocking downfield. Mosley out in front of Favreau, but the hold's going to bring it back, and that changes everything.
And they tried to go, they wanted to run outside, and they were going to run outside with their best runner tonight instead of going with that fly sweep, because going laterally, going side to side, the Griffins were able to shut them down. With that quarterback sweep, they were able to get the quarterback's shoulder square, get upfield, but you risk it and you get a penalty.
Well, and I'll tell you, both these teams struggling with the penalties, and we've already mentioned it, just keeps biting both of them.
Yeah.
And boy, for Los Alamitos, that keeps the door open.
Now it's a big stop. If they can get the stop here, they possibly get the ball back with about a minute 10, possibly somewhere in that range. No timeouts, but they at least get the ball back, and that's all you ask, is to get the ball back.
And you've got the receiving core and the quarterback to pick up a touchdown quick.
And if listen, if they throw the ball, I'd be totally shocked, because if it's an incompletion, it's going to stop the clock. So who's my best runner tonight? My best runner is Favreau. Line him up in the shotgun, run some sort of quarterback draw or quarterback sweep.
Clock continues to run, 1:45. Herrera, your man in motion. Drops the ball on the ground, still on the ground. Oh my goodness. That was interesting. Provost with the stop, and that ball just laying there like a duck.
And what happens, you put yourself, you have all that motion, you have all that play action, and what's he do? He drops the ball, and all they were going to run, the quarterback on a draw or some sort of keeper. And with that, just snap the ball and just run it forward so you don't have that risk. But they're going to get the ball back now, it looks like, at about, well, a little bit less. Probably a minute. They're going to let it go all the way down and probably take the penalty or call timeout right before.
Well, I've got my binoculars on. I'm seeing that ball just laying there waiting for someone to pick it up. And one of the old adages you hear in football is scoop and score. And I'm going, is a white shirt going to scoop and score that thing? Because they would have had wide open real estate to the touchdown. However, Cody Paul back deep. Chargers now forced to punt. And a typical Sunset League game between these two opponents.
Now, Fritz, that's what I was going to say. You've been around the Griffins program a lot longer than I have been. However, in reading and seeing highlights over the years, would it surprise you if the Griffins got a punt return for a touchdown? Because you talk about the crazy endings in these games. Most of the time that I remember, the crazy endings have ended in the Griffins' favor.
Yeah, they have.
And so the Chargers have been kind of the heartbreak kids. So if you're a Griffins fan, you're still sitting pretty right now.
Well, and there's another reason I say that's highly probable. Number 5.
Yeah.
Cody Paul, he's been pacing the sideline. We've been watching him. We tuned in on it. There's Brett Baton getting his leg ready. But Cody Paul has probably one of the most competitive players I've seen in a long time. Anytime you give him the ball, you've got a touchdown potential.
You have that potential every time. Absolutely correct.
He's hovering around the 23-yard line.
And they
blocked. Who's going to get it? It goes out of bounds. And boy, what a turn of events. Kevin, you said it. Crazy endings. And now you've got to be having flashbacks if you're the Chargers. What the heck just happened? Penalties have taken us out of this thing. Now a block punt, special teams coming to play.
Can I tell you what has put them in this position? Throwing that ball when they should have been running the ball to run out the clock. They throw the ball, It stops the clock. Coach Barnes saves a timeout. He used a timeout at a later time. If you don't throw the ball, you take off time on the clock.
He's got to burn it.
Yeah.
46 seconds left. Both sides are on their feet. Lagarde. And he just threw. Okay, now wait a minute. Okay, so smart play, didn't have an open receiver, threw it away. Now what's the flag that just came in?
Well, they may have missed it. It could be a grounding, but if they do have a grounding, it's because they didn't see Cody Paul amongst all those 6'5" guys. Because I would be surprised if they call grounding because number 5 was right there.
Well, and Coach Barnes is halfway onto the field.
Let's see if they have a defensive holding or something, possibly trying to get Paul. And that's what it is. Either they were holding on the screen, they were trying to get the ball to their playmaker, Cody Paul, and either he was being held or one of the linemen.
And it looked like it was being thrown away, but
Correct.
Actually the receiver was taken away from his route.
Yes.
41 seconds left. Now, what's interesting here is you've got a shot at a field goal. Now, Baton, we don't know what his long is. We know he's got quite a leg. We've seen him many, many times kicking an extra point and clearly getting it through the uprights. So now you would argue that they're within field goal range. It's going to be a long one. Hopefully the Griffins don't need to consider that option. Hopefully they walk away with the touchdown. That to the near side.
He didn't get out of bounds. So they're going, it's second down. If they have another play, they won't have to spike it, but it looks like they're going to spike the ball because they're going to stop the clock. So you waste the down.
Okay, 24 seconds, and they will take that timeout. So Kendall Holmes could not get to the sideline. There you see it. Scoreboard says everything. I mean, this is how these games have gone for 10 years. Last-minute field goals. I remember being at this same field on a rainy night where there were literally 4 turnovers, fumbles in a row in succession. The ball was so wet. Typical game between the Chargers and the Griffins. Going and didn't get out of bounds again.
You know, that's two things. That's got to be, he's just trying to get the first down, but if you're going to do that, run, go far enough that it's going to stop the clock. Don't have 3rd down and 7 and run a 3-yard pattern. This is 4th down right here. They've got to kick it.
Baton comes out, the most important kick of his
37 yards, Fritz.
37-yard kick, most important kick of his season, of his life probably as a Griffin. Out of the hold of Kyle Roberts. And timeout, Chargers going to try to ice him. $18 clicks on the clock. You know, one of the things so far, Kevin, that we haven't seen is, Brett Baton is usually kicking his extra points on top of touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. It's just, a chip shot and not a big deal.
Right.
It'll be interesting to see. He is a standout kicker. We've been watching him for 2 years now. He is a solid kicker. Probably the top of any high school kicker that I've seen this year. And yet this is where it really counts, under a pressure situation.
And the pressure gets to the best of them. So let's see, we know that his leg is strong enough. Now they just have to execute it. It's from the snap to the hold to the kick and obviously to the protection.
Kyle Roberts, the holder. Snap back, ball down, kick is up. Looked like it may have been tipped. And that is...
But there's a flag. And usually it's going to be roughing when it's back there.
Wow. And you know what, Kevin? I'm watching. Only one referee signaled that it was wide. The other was waiting. Maybe he saw the flag.
Well, it also could be because it was on his side. You have to look to the other referee. If it's not on your side, you look to the other referee for a call. But it looks like, but if it was tipped, there's no way that there could be roughing.
Well, I'll tell you, that was such a low liner coming out of there.
It was a difficult snap because the snap was high. So now you can actually run. You can run 2 plays. You can run a couple of fades, or you can kick it. And so you got to go for the win. So you run a couple of plays to the end zone, but they have to be plays to the outside.
Well, and those 2 plays that we saw before where Holmes couldn't even get out of bounds. You got to be careful of that.
And then you have to kick on 3rd down. But your passes have to be outside. Nothing over the middle unless it's wide open.
Ball on the 10-yard line. Going to give it to Cody Paul. Interesting call. He's got to get down.
Oh, my goodness.
That is...
We've seen everything.
Are you kidding me? Did they just... Wait a minute. Is there a flag down?
There doesn't appear to be a flag. That's game. Ball is up, and that's game. Griffins came out and tried to catch him off guard by running a draw play, which is a good call if you have timeouts.
Well, I guess I'm looking at this pink thing. Oh, that must be a towel. Yeah. Wow, that will be a call that will be questioned for, well, at least the rest of this season.
Well, you know, you can only, as a coach, you're trying to catch them off guard. And so it's a great play if he scores. If he scores, it's a great play, and it's a great play if you have timeouts. However, with no timeouts, that's a tough play.
Well, that is one of the most anticlimactic ends to a game I've seen in a long time. And Cody Paul, the workhorse, you know, always a good choice. But like you said, you've got a great QB. You've got a lot of sure-handed receivers. And, again, the Griffins will be questioning that call for many, many years. It's a tough call.
Well, it's hard to tell, but when you see that and when you're there on the outside looking in, the only thing you can think is, like you said, you're trying to catch the defense off guard. You've got them on their heels now. They just had a big penalty, and so you're trying to make that call. But like I said, if you've got timeouts, that's a great call. But you've got to have a little bit more, well, not a little bit more, you've got to have a lot more confidence in your quarterback.
Let's go ahead, and we're going to step aside for just a moment, and we'll be right back with the final game wrap-up.
Worthington Lissack Insurance Services has been serving your area for over 20 years. Our friendly staff will work with you to come up with a policy that works best for you. We work with Mercury, Safeco, Progressive, Fireman's Fund, and the Hartford. We offer coverage for auto and home insurance for homeowners, condos, and renters. We also offer commercial and business insurance, including commercial property, general liability, and more. Call Worthington Lissack Insurance Services at 562-795-5744.
Okay, welcome back to Shoe Field, where Los Alamitos was just handed their 2nd loss of the season. They will go to 4-2, and for Edison, they will, with the victory, advance to 4-2. The final score, 10-7, on a play that will be questioned for some time. Kevin, as you look back, walk through the coach's perspective here on, you know, what he's thinking by handoff with 13 seconds left.
Well, the first thing that you assume that the quarterback got the call correct and called what the coach wanted. And if he did call what the coach wanted, what the coach is saying is, if I'm going to lose this game, I'm going to lose this game with the ball in my best player's hands. And so from a coach's perspective, that's what you say. You say, you know what? Who's my best player out there on offense? It's Cody Paul. If I'm going to lose this game, I'm going to lose it with him. And so that's the only thing that I can think. Like I said, without having a timeout, it's kind of a tough call. But to question the coach, especially a coach with 293 more wins than I have, it's hard to do. But the only thing I can think of is, you know what, I got to get it in my playmakers' hands, and that's what they did. They spread the field, and that's what they did.
Well, and you can see running around here on the, I shouldn't say running around, but completely dejected is Cody Paul. He wanted that ball. We saw him pacing here while that defense was putting up that great stand. He just absolutely wanted that ball, and he has been the workhorse tonight. Bloodied ear, and he had the chance to win it. Let's give the Chargers their due credit. Great defense. I mean, that did, for I think any defensive coordinator, that throw you off what they're running it. And so at that point you say, Barnes, right now could be a hero
Right.
by putting it on the ground versus calling it a pass play. So there you have it. Week number 1, Chargers walk out of here with the victory. Would like to thank again our premier sponsor, Consolidated Disposal Services. Thank you to all of our sponsors for helping us bring to you exciting high school football. The final score, Edison Chargers 10, Los Alamitos 7. For Kevin Robinson, for Keith Jones, my name is Fritz Pollard. Thank you for watching exciting high school sports here on Los Alamitos Television. We'll see you next week.
Good night, everyone.
Quit playing around and clean out the garage.
Quit playing around, huh? I'll show her. Let's go, Joe.
Clean out your garage and sell Play It Again Sports, your gently used sports and fitness gear.